Athletes, Coach Blu here. Hey, let's jump into a topic that a lot of people may not understand, but really we've got to link some connectors to this, and that's talking about pain. Pain is one of the worst things we can have. In fact, industries, including pharmaceuticals, over-the-counter stuff, they all do their best they can to try and create medications and substance to help you avoid pain. Now, granted, you've heard me say in the past that if you truly want to see the scope of how much we hate pain, go walk down your local pharmaceutical aisle at any grocery store or chain box store, and you'll see that they have things like extra strength Tylenol, maximum strength Bear, extreme Excedrin. And the reason we have those kind of things is because people want pain gone now. We don't want it to have to linger on. We want pain gone immediately. But there are some good components to pain. And if we don't understand the complexities behind it, where it's coming from, the sources that's leading it to our awareness, we may miss how to properly treat it. So let's jump into today's topic. Now, pain loosely is defined as an unpleasant situation or sensation, usually caused by some kind of tissue damage. It allows the body to react to prevent further tissue damage. Now, people typically feel pain when a signal travels through nerve fibers in your brain for interpretation. Where's that pain coming from? The experience of pain is vastly different depending on the person experiencing it. And there are a variety of ways to feel and describe pain. And this variation, it definitely can cause some cases to be so extreme and make challenging efforts to try and reduce it a little bit more complex. Pain can definitely be short-term, that's what you're hoping for if you have to experience it, but it can also be long-term and can stay with someone and spread around the body depending on the source and the mechanism that's causing it. So what causes pain? Well, people typically feel pain when the nerves, and specific nerves that is, detect any kind of tissue damage or injury and transmits information instantaneously to your brain. It causes muscles to contract, it causes adrenaline to be entered into the system, and if you think about it, it operates kind of magnificently. I mean, check this out. If you were to touch a hot surface, maybe a stove, the surface of your skin immediately sends a message through a reflex arc in the spinal cord and causes an immediate reaction for your muscles to contract, and you pull away immediately without even thinking about it. That's how fast your body recognizes pain and danger, because ultimately what your body wants to do is get your hand away from the hot surface, the mechanism of pain. Now, the brain's interpretation and interactions with these kind of responses is an efficient way to communicate issues, and the reinforcement of pain ensures that you'll remember to avoid that again. The brain also can produce some amazing feel-good chemicals such as dopamine to counteract the effects of pain, which is kind of crazy because if you think about it, you're thinking, Coach, dopamine feels good. How can pain equal good? It does that as an immediate response to try and lessen the severity of what you're going through. It's a natural ability for your body to go into shock and create some pain barriers, if you will, until help can arrive. Now, there are all kinds of pain. We want to jump through some of these. There is somatic pain. When a person feels this superficial pain on the skin or soft tissue, just below the skin, think of a scratch or a vaccine prick. Visceral pain, and that's a pain that originates in the internal organs and the lining of some cavities in the body. And then there's referred pain. A person experiences pain at locations other than the damaged tissue. For example, people often experience pains in the shoulder during heart attacks. And we drop into chronic pain. Now, this type of pain lasts for the duration. It's a long time, where often, unfortunately, there is no cure. Chronic pain can be mild or severe. It's completely dependent on the person and what the source of the pain is. It can also be continuous, such as arthritis or with a migraine episode that tends to happen on a regular basis. Intermittent pain occurs on repeated occasion, but really never seems to stop. Now, if enough cases of acute pain occur, they can create chronic pain within an individual. The effect is kind of known as the wind-up. Now, describing pain is super important if you want to get help for it. Neuropathic pain, it's a pain that typically occurs following an injury to the prehensile nerves that connect the brain and spinal cord to the rest of your body. And it can feel like electric shocks or cause tenderness, numbing, tingling, and extreme discomfort. Now, central pain occurs during some kind of abscess, tumors, degeneration, or bleeding on the brain or spinal cord. And central pain is ongoing, ranging from mild to extreme. And people with that kind of central pain, they typically report burning sensations, aching or pressing issues. But knowing how to describe your pain is going to help get you the assistance that you need. But more importantly, we have to understand the key components between physical pain and emotional pain, because you know that the same medications and the same practices and principles that go into stopping physical pain also work for emotional pain. And if you've ever been addicted to opiates, you know what I'm talking about. Typically, people have gotten connected with opiates through a legitimate illness or injury, but it's all the stuff that we bring into that relationship with pain that can further our healing and make things super challenging, because if it's going to help you physically overcome pain, it's definitely going to connect you to the emotional side of pain too. Hear me out. What's the difference between physical and emotional pain? While physical pain and emotional pain are very different, there are some extreme similarities that research suggests are both typically stimulated by neurological stimularities. Think about that for a minute. An emotional pain can be so intense that it mimics a physical pain. Both physical and emotional pain are linked to changes in the prefrontal cortex and the cingulate cortex. In some research that I've seen, it argues that rather than viewing emotional pain and physical pain as fundamentally different, they should be conceptualized as both being absolutely a part of the border pain continuum. Some types of pain are purely physical, while others are unexcusably mental and emotional. But many times, the pain lies somewhere there in the middle. There can be all kinds of causes for emotional pain. There are a number of different emotions that can lead to psychological pain. Everyone may have experienced these from unfortunate situations throughout their life. Something happens, you go through an extreme point of grief or loss or sadness, and it doesn't fade with time. It might point to it being a treatable condition such as depression or anxiety that can absolutely have impacts on your body and your physical health. Anything from sadness and unexpressed anger, anxiety, guilt, and shame. All of these have impacts on you physically. And psychological pain can also continue to work against you and make things absolutely worse. And it can travel in other areas of your body. You store it somewhere. Typically, I've seen it heart problems, back problems. I keep my stress and my stuff in my back. I don't know why physiologically I do that, but it does. When I start having bad days or bad weeks, it turns into back pain, which is completely bizarre. But our bodies manifest this stuff if it's not treated and excused. It can have severe impacts, anything from diarrhea to headaches, dizziness, muscle pain, pain in your arms and your legs, stomach aches, gastrointestinal issues. And it can definitely be accompanied by aggression and violence, alcohol or substance use, compulsive behaviors such as shopping, gambling, sex, eating disorders, risky behaviors, self-harm, suicidal thoughts, suicidal tendencies, and suicide in and of itself. So I want you to know it's understandable that if you have physical pain, that there's things we can do that we can help you with to focus in on what's the causality and how to lighten the burden. And what I've seen in my years of addiction treatment is that addictions derive from some kind of pain, some kind of trauma. I just talked about this on a video released recently. We get beaten, banged, and bruised as we grow. And if we don't channel that pain somehow, somewhere, it's going to reside inside of us and it's going to cause problems. One of the most adverse chemicals that we get when we face any kind of stress that can absolutely create issues and pain within your body is cortisol, the stress hormone. If you're experiencing pain, I highly recommend you getting in touch with a counselor or therapist. You talk to your doctor about these things. We have seen pain mismanagement throughout our country for the last 40 years, and it has absolutely wrecked a lot of families. Pain is an indicator that something's wrong, either emotionally or physically. That holds true. Taking opiates, using heroin, doing things to try and escape pain only prolongs it. Your brain forgets it's there, but it truly does continue to exist. So let's go to the source. Let's find out what's driving it. Let's whittle away some of the external things to get down to the core of it so that we can help better treat the pain, or on an emotional level, excuse it altogether. If you find yourself in this kind of a struggle or battle, please reach out. That's what we're here for. And it's important to know the mechanisms of pain, how it affects you, and whether or not a physical pain has grown into an emotional pain or vice versa. So let's keep the dialogue going. I hope this helps just a little bit as we dive into some of these principles of recovery. It'll help you turn your mess of addiction into the message of sobriety.